Picture this. It's 1944, high above the war-torn skies of Europe. A lone German pilot, an ace with dozens of victories, spots what he thinks is easy prey of formation of American B-17 bombers. He dives, his cannons ready to tear through their aluminum skin. But then, a flash of silver streaks out of the sun. Before he can even react, his cockpit is shredded by 50 caliber machine gun rounds. He's just met the little friend of the bombers, the angel of death for the Luftwaffe, the P-51 Mustang. Why did this single aircraft become the stuff of nightmares for German pilots? Let's find out. By late 1943, the Allied bombing campaign against Germany was in serious trouble. American B-17 Flying Fortresses and B-24 Liberators were flying deep into enemy territory, but they were being slaughtered. The problem was escort. Fighters like the Spitfire and the P-47 Thunderbolt were fantastic, but they were thirsty for fuel. They could only protect the bombers for part of the journey, leaving them vulnerable to the Luftwaffe's wolves on the long trip to and from targets like Berlin or Schweinfurt. The losses were catastrophic. Some missions saw a quarter of the bombers shot down. The air crews called it Black Week. It got so bad that the daylight bombing campaign was almost called off. The Allies needed a miracle. They needed a fighter that could go all the way, enter the P-51 Mustang. Its origin story is legendary. It wasn't even designed for the Americans initially. The British came to North American aviation in 1940, asking them to build P-40 Warhawks. The company president, Dutch Kindleberger, famously said, "Heck, we can build you a better plane, and we can do it faster." And they did. The prototype, the NA-73X, went from a drawing on a piece of paper to flying in just over 100 days. An incredible feat. The early versions with the Allison engine were good, but not great, especially at high altitudes. They were decent, but they weren't the game changer the Allies desperately needed. The plane had the legs, but it didn't have the lungs. The real magic happened when a brilliant idea was put into practice. What if we put the best British engine into the best American airframe? Engineers took the superb Rolls-Royce Merlin engine, the same power plant found in the legendary Spitfire, and fitted it into the Mustang. The result was pure aviation perfection. The Merlin engine, with its advanced two-stage supercharger, transformed the P-51. Suddenly, it could climb like a rocket and was lightning fast, even above 30,000 feet, exactly where the German interceptors liked to prey on the bombers. This new combination, the P-51B, and later the iconic bubble canopy P-51D, was the birth of the ultimate dogfighter. So what made it so terrifying? First, its range. With external drop tanks, the Mustang could fly from England to Berlin and back, with fuel to spare. This was unheard of. For the first time, the bombers had a dedicated bodyguard for the entire mission. When Luftwaffe pilots rose to meet the bomber streams, they were no longer met with lumbering, defenseless targets. They were met by swarms of angry Mustangs. The German pilots' hearts would sink. Their hunting ground had become a hornet's nest. The psychological impact was immense. The element of surprise was gone. Second, its performance was simply breathtaking. The P-51D could top 440 miles per hour. It could outturn, outclimb, and outrun nearly every German fighter it faced, including the formidable Focke-Wulf 190 and Messerschmitt Bf 109. German aces, who had dominated the skies for years, suddenly found themselves on the defensive. They had developed tactics specifically for attacking bomber formations, like high-speed diving attacks from above. But the Mustangs would be waiting even higher, diving down on them first. The hunter had become the hunted. Imagine being a seasoned German pilot, confident in your skills and your aircraft, only to have this silver predator appear in your rearview mirror, closing the distance with terrifying speed. There was often no escape. Third, its firepower was devastating. 650 caliber M2 Browning machine guns, 3 in each wing, carried a massive amount of ammunition. These guns could rip a German fighter to shreds in a short, brutal burst. Unlike cannons, which had a lower rate of fire and less ammo, the Mustang 650s created a concentrated stream of destruction. The sound alone was terrifying. A Mustang on your six was the last thing you wanted to see or hear. Its gun sight, the K-14 gyro gun sight, was another game changer. It was basically an early analog computer that helped the pilot lead the target correctly, dramatically increasing accuracy in the chaos of a dogfight. The arrival of the Mustang in large numbers in early 1944 completely changed the air war over Europe. It enabled the big week in February, where the 8th Air Force systematically targeted the German aircraft industry. The Mustangs didn't just defend the bombers. They went on the offensive. After dropping off the bombers, American commanders unleashed the fighters. They were free to roam across Germany, strafing anything that moved airfields, trains, military convoys. This was a brutal attritional strategy. They were hunting the Luftwaffe not just in the air, but on the ground. A German pilot wasn't safe, even after landing. This relentless pressure bled the Luftwaffe dry, destroying precious aircraft and, more importantly, killing irreplaceable veteran pilots. The Germans tried to counter the Mustang threat. They developed heavily armed Sternbach Focke-Wulf 190s, essentially flying battering rams designed to smash through bomber formations. But they were slow and clumsy, easy prey for the nimble P-51s. Then came the jets, the Messerschmitt Me-262. On paper, it was superior in every way, faster and armed with powerful 30mm cannons. A lone Me-262 could slice through a Mustang formation. But they arrived too late and in too few numbers. They were vulnerable during takeoff and landing, and Mustang pilots developed specific tactics to hunt them near their airfields, catching them when they were most helpless. The jet ace Adolf Galland famously said the Me-262 was like being pushed by an angel. But he also knew the war was lost, largely because the P-51 had already broken the back of the Luftwaffe. In the end, the P-51 Mustang didn't just protect the bombers. It achieved total air superiority. By D-Day in June 1944, the Luftwaffe was a shadow of its former self. Allied ground troops could advance across France with near-total freedom from enemy air attacks. Why? Because the Mustangs were there, patrolling the skies, ensuring nothing could challenge them. The plane became a symbol of American industrial might and aeronautical genius. It was the right machine, at the right time, with the right engine. It was the ultimate dogfighter, the aircraft that swept the skies clean and brought the air war to Germany's doorstep. For the bomber crews, it was their little friend. But for the pilots of the Luftwaffe, it was, without a doubt, their worst nightmare. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this look into aviation history, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories like this. Let me know in the comments what legendary aircraft you'd like to see covered next. See you in the next video.